You all ready to join me today in our trip to outer space?
Yeah.
From artist Fay Jones.
Albert Shivers.
The Matrix doesn't have him.
That's very true.
Come along quietly or not.
Goodbye, Willis.
As I was about to try to bribe
From Albert
the
Shivers.
mistress of the fading light.
They don't have to like it.
They're trying to put a caravan.
The general concept is that creativity flourishes in an atmosphere of freedom.
This is Brooklyn's own station, WBBC, Brooklyn, New York.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Planet Shivers podcast. I am, as I've always been, Albert Shivers, and I'm excited to have India on the podcast today to talk about her work. But before we get to India, I want to have a little powwow with you guys. First of all, you probably noticed the podcast hasn't been coming out as often. There's been a lot of stuff going down on the planet these past couple of months, and I just haven't been able to get down to things as much. I've also been dedicating the free time that I have to art, you know, not necessarily putting the podcast on the back burner, but I've had a lot of artistic ideas, and you know, got some shows coming up. I'm going to keep you guys up to date on all that. Right now, I can't say nothing yet because nothing's written in stone, but there's some things cooking.
Albert, for your information, there is no pee in water.
So I'm just letting all you guys know, I didn't forget about the podcast. There's a lot of shit going on, but I'm going to keep this going. Nothing's going to stop me from keeping it going. The people I've met, the conversations I've had, and the things I've learned are far, far, far too valuable for me to stop this podcast. Whether it's 4 episodes a month or 1 a month, I'm keeping it going. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're sitting out there thinking, oh, Albert hasn't been doing his podcast, sometimes you just got to slow the roll a little bit. You got to take the curves, shift down to the first, second gear, and take your time and look at the scenery and figure out what's going on. But the podcast isn't going anywhere. I promise you that.
Go tell your mama that, boy.
With all that, don't forget, like I always tell you, you can check out everything that I got going on Instagram at Albert Shivers or on the website www.albertshivers.com. I really enjoyed this conversation with India. It was great to not only learn about her and her work, but her process, artistic process, whether it's visual art, a musician, whoever, is so interesting to me, the people's process. So often we hear or see or witness the final product, but it is endlessly interesting to me to know how they got there.
Yeah, that proves it. He's stoned.
And that is a lot of what I got from this conversation with India. I hope you enjoy it. She's a fascinating artist. Enjoy.
We're just here for a few minutes, then we're going to Shivers.
Come and eat at Alberta's Pizzeria, the only place for authentic Italian Jewish cuisine. Home of the only Grandma Yetta pie, the best kosher pie this side of the Wailing Wall. Plus, we cater birthdays, sweet 16, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, baptisms for the goys, and we offer free sausage topping for any bris. Alberta's Pizzeria, pizza you'll want to eat everywhere. And I am very excited to have fellow artists on the podcast today. India, thank you for being on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So I'd love to just jump right into your artwork.
Okay.
You have a very unique style that does jump off the canvas.
Thank you.
So I'd like to know, we'll start from the beginning, as how you got interested in art and how that transformed to you actually creating it.
Well, I believe that my first introduction to art happened when I was very, very, very young, like a toddler. My mom would read us books, and I would draw like the scenes in the books. Like she read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and I would sit there and draw the scenes in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings as like a 5-year-old person. that's when I first started doing a lot of art. I never stopped drawing my entire life, and my parents saw that and they got me quickly into art classes. So I studied throughout, my lifetime in art, and I went to college for it. I have a BA in art. I went to the College of St. Elizabeth, and I learned how to paint. I learned how to do oils, and I learned classically how to paint. And now that I'm here, I do more abstract and more primitive style of painting. It's just how I've evolved.
Okay. What attracted you to the styles that you're working with now?
It's just like, I believe it's a mixture of things. One of it is the eyes are very prominent in my paintings. One reason for that could be is because I believe eyes are the window to the soul. And they are also very prominent in my life because I notice people's eyes all the time. Also, it could be, but not necessarily related to, I watched a lot of anime when I was in high school.
Okay.
And my pictures that I drew had bigger and bigger and bigger eyes. So that could, have an influence. I don't necessarily draw to that anymore. But that could have influenced me in the long run to have big eyes. I also believe that I make the eyes big because I want to emphasize their emotions, because my paintings are all pretty sad. It's rare when I paint someone happy.
Okay.
And so the eyes are usually crying or welling up with tears. So that's why I want to paint the eyes big.
Okay. It's fun you mention anime.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a bit of a personal study about how our generation of artists were so influenced by anime and how it completely pivoted. You could almost, when I've interviewed and spoken with older artists, let's say over the age of 60,
yeah,
their drawings are completely different, and I couldn't ever figure out why.
Right.
And once it clicked that they didn't have those same influences. And anime was so big,
yeah,
that you couldn't help be influenced by.
It was a huge wave of art, and manga and anime. I watched it all. I went to cons, anime cons. I did cosplay. I was really into it. I started the first anime club in my college. I went to Sussex County College just in the beginning of my college career, and I started the anime club there. Okay. I was the vice president. Yeah, and it was pretty cool. It ended up being the biggest club on campus.
That's really cool.
It is really cool. Yeah. I go back there to visit, and when I say, "Hey, by the way, I started this club," they're like, "Oh, thank you so much."
This club is still going on.
It is, and this is decades ago. I'm 40 years old.
Okay.
So this was in my early 20s. That this club got started, and it's still there. I check periodically. And it's still there, and it's the biggest club on campus.
That's cool.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Has any of those influences of yours affected your use of color in what you work on?
That I'm not sure of. I think my use of color comes from me, per se, because I am very a vibrant, colorful person. If you know what I mean. Yeah. I really don't know where the colors came from. I feel like they just emerged. It had nothing to do with anime. I don't think so anyway, because mainly when I watched anime, I mainly read manga, so that's black and white, Right. So I think mainly the colors just come from me, and that's somewhere in me is a very colorful person.
Gotcha. And your mediums. Now, we were just talking a little bit before that you're shifting your medium.
Right, before the one behind you right here, up here, is acrylic and acrylic marker. And I was doing that for a while. I'd paint on with acrylic, and then I'd sort of go over with acrylic marker for a bit. But then I started dabbling in oil, and I did this one on the wall here. It's huge. It's 30 by 40 inches, I believe. And it's mainly oil. I put a layer of acrylic down first.
Okay.
And then on top of that, I put my layer of oil, because you can't do it the other way around. And it just spoke to me, and it's so smooth when it goes on, and then one on my easel is completely oil. And I did it in 3 hours, which is phenomenal for an oil painting. I have no idea how I pulled that off.
That's dedication.
It is dedication, and it's an awareness of where you put color down. You know, it could easily become very muddy if you paint that fast in oil. But if you are aware of where you lay the color down, then, like, you know, you can definitely see. I might have another painting. Anyway, I had this painting that I did a while back that was oil and acrylic, and, like, I put them simultaneously side by side. But I had to remember where I put the acrylic down and where I put the oil down, because if they mixed, it would not be good.
Right.
So I was just, you know, I'm a speed painter. You know, some people, you know, like, I feel like I'm a speed painter. You know, I work very fast. And I don't know how I do it, but I do it.
Do you feel that you paint instinctually?
Instinctually, yeah. Like, I don't even plan the painting before going at it.
Okay.
Like, I just do it. Like, the 2 flower ones here were planned. They're going in a show at Orange Coffee Shop.
Okay.
Next month for spring. He said he wanted flowers, so I did 2 flower paintings, you know, with gold leaf. This is totally, utterly instinctual. It's like a dream. Okay. You know, I didn't plan that. It's just when I laid the paint down, the shapes kind of appeared to me. Like, I saw a rabbit, I saw a dinosaur, I saw a mermaid, and so I just accentuated the shapes with the paint. You know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I love to ask different artists this, and we segue right into it, which is your process.
Yeah.
So you just got into it a little bit. I tend to be a little bit, atmosphere can mean a lot to me sometimes.
Atmosphere is in where you are?
Where I am, the room.
Right.
Do you prefer a specific atmosphere to work?
I do. When I was living downtown Stroudsburg, I preferred painting in my bed.
Okay.
But my bedroom here doesn't have very good light, and my parents helped me with this house, so they didn't want me painting anywhere other than the studio. Okay. Because I get paint everywhere, and I have gotten paint everywhere. There's paint everywhere upstairs.
That's every artist's dilemma.
I know. But anyway, so I feel like this room is completely just like a really kind of zen room for me. Because I've got my peace lily, and it oxidizes the air. You know, this is no kitty in here. I have a cat. And I just feel like, you know, it's airy, it's spacious, you know, like, I feel like I'm getting more inspired here than I was in downtown Stroudsburg. Okay. Because I had a tiny apartment there, and then now I have my own space. I'm so blessed and happy that I have it.
Absolutely. No, you've done good with it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just gotta move inventory.
Right. I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Do you listen to music at all when you
I do. I totally do. Recently I've been listening to a lot of Christian faith-based music. Okay. I'm devoutly Catholic. Mm-hmm. I was actually just recently baptized maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Okay. And I converted to Catholicism. It influences me heavily in my artwork. As well as like Indian art, you know, that also influences me. Because my mother lived in India for 3 years of her life, and my grandfather is an anthropologist, and he's 100 years old, and he's still working on his book about India. You know,
That's awesome.
He works every day on his book. You know, he just sits there and types. And he's 100 years old.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. God bless. And what else? What were we talking about?
So, you go right into my next question, which is perfect.
Okay, yeah.
How does your religion influence your art? And how much does it?
Well, I feel like it influences my art a lot. This painting... Can I get up?
Sure.
This painting over here... it's the oil painting. This is the Annunciation. This is Mary. This is the Holy Spirit up here in the ball. The orb is the Holy Spirit. And the feather represents the angel coming to Mary, telling her that she's going to have Jesus. And that just came to me. I got paint on me. it just came to me, you know, like in my head as I was doing it. I didn't set out to plan to do that. I just did it, you know. And I do a lot of like crosses on the forehead because I love the season of Lent.
Okay.
Have you heard of Lent?
I know a little bit about it.
Well,
yeah.
Lent, you give up something, you give to God more, you fast, you it's a time where Jesus is experiencing his trials.
Okay.
And he gets crucified and then brought back to life. It's a very beautiful time period. I'm still learning about it myself because I'm a new Catholic.
Okay.
So I hope I gave an adequate explanation of what that is.
And that's coming up.
Yeah, well, no, it is now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it ends at Easter. Like, all through the March and whatever, up to Easter. That's when we break fast and our, you know, just Lent is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, when you, so with this piece here, with the representation of Mary, what are some other representations that you may use in your work?
I do a circle in some of the middle of the foreheads of some of my paintings, and that represents the third eye. I don't entirely believe in a third eye, but like I feel like with my Indian influence of art, I put the bindi or the third eye or whatever. It just comes to me to put it there. You know, like I just feel like I need to do it. I don't know why. Is it okay not to know why?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because that, like, it goes back to that you're painting very instinctually.
Yeah. Like, for this one, initially, I had put a circle on her forehead, and then I heard, like, my inner voice say, no, not on her forehead. So I painted over that, you know.
Right.
So, like, when I'm painting, I hear voices. I hear, like, coaching voices. Not, like, outside my head, but inside my head. Saying, no, don't do that. Do this instead, you know.
I know, I can relate. It's from right here somehow.
Yeah.
Where that I found that I've had to train myself to hear it.
Yeah.
And to trust it.
I am hearing it more and more recently. It is amazing. Like, I hear it, like, right here in my temple. Mm. And I'll be, like, painting, and then I'll hear a voice saying, careful. And then I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And it'll like guide me, like, and it even like I think it's been guiding me back to the colors, you know, like to pick the colors that I want, you know, like saying like I'll put down a yellow and it says, are you sure you want to do yellow? Or like it'll say, don't do that. Like I'm hearing this inner voice like so loudly recently. And I don't think I'm like crazy or anything like that. No. It's just I'm an artist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are going down a different path.
We have a different resonance.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We resonate differently. Okay, cool. I'm not the only one. Thank God.
So similar to your religious influence on the paintings, how much of the Indian influence is in your paintings?
There's a lot of Indian influence. This one up here. Mm-hmm. This was displayed in New York City. It's called Kali, the goddess Kali. Have you heard of her?
I've heard the name, but if you would give some background.
Sure. The goddess Kali is a goddess. She's a mother goddess. Okay. First of all, she's a mother. She's an angry mother, but she's a mother. She's also what I was gonna say. Oh, she's a war goddess. You know, she's angry war goddess. She's often depicted with a belt of skulls, with her tongue sticking out. But I put her here with the red eyes, and her hand's supposed to be doing this, but it ran off the page.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. And then she's got the chain going from her nose to her ear.
Do you ever find yourself combining the influences?
I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll draw a circle, and then I'll put a cross in the middle of the circle with beams of light coming out.
Okay.
You know, like I can do that. I do that sometimes. I was doing that for a while, but then it got kind of old. Let me see if I... No. I branched out and tried to paint, now that I think of it, I tried to paint architecture.
Okay.
Yeah. It's my church. But just as a side note, I just kind of like branched off. I'm sorry, I'm random.
No, that's cool because when I see that painting... Yeah. And... for the folks listening, it's a few buildings, but it is even though it's something different.
Uh-huh.
So now, in the short time that I've known of you and your work, this
Yeah.
is a lot of what I've seen.
Uh-huh.
But to see you do buildings, you still have your distinct style.
Thank you.
Like I can see it and go,
thank you.
I can tell it's the same person who did the rest of the year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Can you believe that one up there, the Mary? I did that in college.
Wow.
I had to do a study of the Annunciation in college because I went to a Catholic college. I don't remember who did that originally. Maybe Raphael or I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But like that's Mary. Zoomed in on one of the paintings of the Annunciation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's much more realistic of a painting.
Yeah, I mean, I was learning. I was learning how to paint. And that's my style then. But it wasn't a style. It was more like a technique I was learning.
Right.
Like I hadn't developed my style yet. I just... Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself going back to something like that?
Probably not. I don't think I have the patience for it.
Okay.
I'm very impatient with myself when I paint. And if I would just not be able to do that. Absolutely not. No.
Okay. Do you remember how long you had worked on that in college?
Like a month, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah.
Long time. I paint like every night. Like I paint in like under 3 hours now. So like I can never go back to like painting so slow.
Right. Well, once you're used to your own flow,
my groove,
and when it's working for you.
Yeah. Oh, I hope
you
so.
found your style, definitely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Do you prefer bigger or smaller paintings?
Bigger paintings. Maybe not as big as this one. This one was a bit overwhelming. I had to lean it up against the couch and sit on the ground and paint because it wouldn't fit on my easel.
Okay.
Like it crowded the easel, and I was worried about getting paint on the paintings behind it.
Right. Gotcha.
Anyway, so I would lean it on the couch, and I would sit on the ground, Indian style, and I would just lean over and paint on the painting.
Cool.
Yeah.
So.
And that took 3 days.
This one here.
Yeah, 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit longer than your usual.
Yeah.
How, being so used to painting quickly, did you have any trouble with 3 days?
I did a little bit. I was a little impatient, but it's oil, so you can't really, be too impatient.
Yeah.
And I ran out of white oil paint, so I had to make a trip to the store in between. So I got like a big thing of white oil paint and black oil paint. Those are the two that you go through a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, is this painting here, Mary, is this what you're working on now?
It is. I might add some more brightness to it, because it looks a bit dull, so I want to figure out how I can make it like pop. I'm still learning with oil. I was mainly an acrylic painter previously. Right. My oils tend to look a little pastel.
Okay.
Do you know any way to make oil kind of bright?
No, I have been a pen and ink artist for so long that my knowledge and things I've learned of specifically oils have kind of like diminished. It's in some weird folder.
In your brain. Yeah, me too.
That's like very dusty and hasn't been opened in a while.
Doesn't it look kind of like pastel-y?
I can see what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, but when I look at the oil, the acrylic paint, like one behind you right there, that's bright, and I don't know how to make this equally as bright, and that's bothering me. So I probably have to research it online or something.
Yeah.
Or I have a friend, Joanna, in California, who I call her all the time when I have an art question. Mm-hmm. Or like, should I do this to the hand, that to the hand? And sometimes she'll model for me, like in front of her mirror, and send me a picture of herself, like modeling in a certain way.
Yeah.
So I can get the hand and the stature just right,
It's important to have an art friend like that.
It is.
Who you can trust their opinion.
Oh, totally. I always go to her. I feel like she gives me an honest opinion every time, and she doesn't when it's like something that I need to change, she says it in a way that is not at all insulting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like her critique is honest, and it's helpful. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate her.
Cool. Yeah. Those kind of friends are important to have.
Absolutely.
Because it's good to have somebody to say what do you think? What direction am I?
What direction should I go in? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because she told me to put the strings on the cello right here.
Oh, I see.
Because it's a cello.
Uh-huh.
And here are the strings. She said it would look more cello-like if I put the strings in there. And she was right.
Yeah. So I really do enjoy this piece behind you. It definitely does pop.
Thank you. This piece right here?
This one, the one you with the cello.
The cello, yeah, it does pop. I don't know what I did to it to make. I think that the darks are darker than this darks. You know, I gotta bring up my darks and bring up my lights. I think that's how I'll do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And as I look across your works, a lot of them, not all of them, but many of them have black backgrounds.
Yeah.
Is that something that you?
It is. I get black canvas right here, from Michaels, and I use it as a base.
Okay.
Sometimes I cover it completely. Sometimes I leave some exposed. But it really helps me to start with a black background. To be honest with you, when I start with a white background, I have to coat it completely, like in a dark blue, or do something to the background first. You know, I cannot just start from stark white background.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So where are some places where folks can see your art now?
Well, I'm up at Orange Gallery, and I'm also up at Gamut Art Gallery.
Okay.
Orange is more of like a coffee shop.
Okay. What kind of work do you have displayed there?
At Orange?
Yes.
I have 5 paintings up.
Okay.
They're like up and coming. They're becoming more of a gallery. So they're becoming more of a they're becoming more of a prestigious gallery.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. They're up and coming. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. People aren't aware of it so much yet, but it's actually a very nice establishment.
Okay.
Yeah, have you heard of it?
I am in the show with you.
Are you serious? The art show? The flower show?
I have.
Am I?
Or the last show. Not so. It won't be the upcoming flower show, but the last one.
The last show, the one with the faces. I have the faces in it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
So my work, I have a few large pieces on the wall. There's also photography around it. Like when you first walk in the door, some of my pen and ink jazz pieces.
That's so cool. Did it describe Orange adequately?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Also, I wanted to say, like, I was not actually supposed to display.
Hanging there.
Well, it's a mixture of artwork. There's some very abstract pieces that are just basically shapes and people's faces found within lines and shapes that I did like paint streaks. And then there's some other pieces there that are a bit more realistic, more like the ones with the eyes, you know, and not realistic, but just more realistic than the shapes and everything like that.
Okay.
And I also have a large piece there of Jesus and Saint Veronica.
Okay.
And the story behind them is Veronica came forward to Jesus when he was being crucified, and she wiped his face with her veil. And when she pulled the veil back, his face was implanted on the veil, like a picture of Jesus' face.
Okay.
And apparently they have that veil somewhere to look at. I can't remember what it's called, but it's pretty cool. So, like, you know, a lot of artists in the medieval times and, like, Renaissance times painted Saint Veronica holding up a veil with, like, Jesus' face on it. And I actually did another one of Saint Veronica.
Okay.
This one is her coming towards Jesus with her veil, like a POV kind of.
Okay, right.
This is Saint Veronica, and here's her veil, and she's coming to wipe his face. It's a very special painting.
I you know, looking at it, I can see that you used lots of different shades of blue and aqua, which does stand out from other pieces of yours. I'm sure that was a decision on your part.
Oh, absolutely.
Blues. What made you decide to do that?
Well, Mary's color is blue.
Okay.
Blue and pink, I think. Okay. And so I wanted to do like a blue background. Blue is also my favorite color. So I just sort of wanted to just do a blue monochromatic with a touch of pink.
Well, it works.
Thank you very much.
And this is acrylic or oil?
This is acrylic.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think I put acrylic marker on this one. I think this is just acrylic. And she has a little cross on her forehead.
Cool.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for showing.
Yeah.
So, if people are interested to see more of your work, either online or social media, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is _apologetic_. And my Facebook is simply India Fay Jones.
Okay.
And the one that's me is I have a picture of one of my paintings as a profile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, India, I appreciate you inviting me into your studio to have this conversation. It really was a pleasure to get to know you a little bit, and have you give me a tour of your work.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it too.
Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of the Planet Shivers podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for India for coming on the show, talking about her work. And there's going to be more good episodes coming down the line. So stay tuned to your computers and your apps. I wish it was your radio, but stay tuned to your computers and your apps. And I will talk to you guys in the very near future. Until then, you could find this episode and all the others that came before it on all major podcast platforms and YouTube with a little bit of video. Check out what I'm doing on Instagram @AlbertShivers. Big things coming. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else.
So please, just to be informed about. And thank you so much.